Hello, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, oh my god, is that light reflecting on my glasses? Really annoying. My name is Yasmin. I make videos about my life, so parenting, veganism, whatever else, daily vlogs, stuff like that. And 2 days ago I quit my full-time job. For context, I graduated from university this summer. I was doing a public relations degree. I got a 2-1, and then for the last 5 months I've been working as a social media manager at a fashion company called, no, I'm not going to say the name. Why would I have said the name? That's ridiculous. So why did I quit my job? What was my thought process? What were the pros and cons? Am I going to have no money now? These are all the questions that you probably have, and I'm going to do my best to answer them in this video. Because when I announced it on Twitter, I literally said my job wasn't making me happy anymore, so I quit. And like, obviously, I mean, everyone was happy for me, but understandably some people were like, oh my god, you must be so privileged, like, oh, I can't even imagine being in a position, being able to do that, blah blah blah. If you follow me on like most social platforms, you will know that I'm definitely not in a privileged position or like a great financial position, and that's the whole point. That's why I quit my job. But yeah, I'll get into that. Okay, let me just start from the beginning. So when I finished university in June this year, me and my baby and my partner all moved to Nottingham just because Leeds was the city that we were at when I was at university. We didn't really like it that much. We wanted to move to Nottingham to be closer to family, so we moved here. And the job that Danny, my partner, ended up getting had a slightly less wage. What am I trying to say? His wage was slightly less than his job in Leeds, which meant that I had to earn about £450 a month just to sort of, so we could cover all our bills and rent and food and like just the necessities. Yeah, I'm gonna be really frank and honest about money in this video, just because I don't really get why people don't talk about money. I don't really understand the taboo, and I think that a lot of problems could be solved and a lot of things could just be a lot clearer if we spoke about money in a more transparent way. So yeah, I needed £450 a month, which obviously the ideal solution to that would have been to work part-time, because I would get that working like 15 hours a week. So I started applying for loads of jobs. I applied for everything. Like, I was not fussy. I applied for retail, bar work, social work, McDonald's, and I got rejected from them all. I didn't even get an interview for any of them. And then while I was looking for those jobs, I came across a advert for pretty much my dream job, especially at the time. It was social media manager for this small African fashion brand, essentially like Pretty Little Thing but with African prints. Like, they're online only, they're based in Nottingham, and the job role was to do social media management, influencer marketing, content creation, social strategy, like literally exactly what I wanted to do. And I was just like, what a dream, like this is perfect. So obviously I applied, got an interview, got the job, all within the space of a week. Like, from Monday to Monday I just had the job all of a sudden. So obviously things moved really fast. I didn't really have time to think about it. I just didn't want to let the opportunity pass, especially because it had come so soon after graduating uni, and I know that so many people struggle to find a job after uni. So I was just like, I just kind of felt like I had to take it. Basically within a fortnight, Remy was at nursery full-time, well, 3 days a week, and me and Danny were both in full-time work, so Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. But my job paid £8.50 an hour, which works out to about £63 a day, I think. It's just over £60 a day. But obviously after like tax, national insurance, pension, it's more like £50 a day. And Remy's nursery was £52 a day. So childcare costs are just insane in this country. It meant that if I'd put him in nursery 5 days a week, we like would be losing money just from me going to work. But luckily my mum was able to look after him 2 days a week, which meant that I could keep the money we would have spent on childcare on those days, if that makes sense. So I was coming away with about £500 a month, which was perfect, because obviously it covered our bills and it meant I got to go to work. And yeah, I thought it was like the ideal solution basically. But it turns out working full-time but getting paid the amount that you would if you're working 15 hours a week is just like not ideal. I thought I'd be okay with it because I thought I just really wanted to work, but it turns out it's actually quite soul destroying and just not for me. Yeah. Also, the thing with my place of work in particular is they kind of just treated employees like in the bare minimum way that they legally had to. So like, we didn't get sick pay. Obviously we got statutory sick pay, which is when after I think 4 or 5 days of being ill you start getting paid. But if I was just taking 1 or 2 days off here and there, I wouldn't get paid for it, which maybe I wouldn't have minded if I didn't have Remy. But when you have a child that's at nursery, pretty much guaranteed that 1 or 2 days a month you're going to have to take off work, because nursery will call you up and say that, I don't know, Remy's been sick. And with things like that, they can't go to nursery for, I think it's 48 hours. Like, that's just the rule. So obviously I have to take time off work for that. And the problem was that even just taking 2 or 3 days off per month meant that I could no longer afford to pay the bills. So I was literally working full time and in quite an like unreliable, unstable position, because every month I was just hoping that I'd earn enough to be able to pay the bills, even though I was working full time. Like, that's just not a position that I want to be in. Like, if I'm working 40 hours a week, I want to know that I'm financially stable, and we just weren't, which was like just such a, just not what I thought working would be like. You know when you're like 10 and you think that if you get a job you're gonna have like 10 million pounds. As soon as I realised that the company didn't really care about their employees, it kind of changed my mind about the job straight away. That was like a month in, and from that point I could feel like my motivation and my passion for the job just getting less and less and less every day, because I sort of felt like if they don't care about me, I don't really care about them, and I don't want to put this extra effort in to promote the company and do the social media work, because I could be giving them so much by doing that, because I know I'm good at what I do and I know that I could do so much for a company and for a business. But if they're not going to even treat me with like the basic respect that I think every employee deserves, then like I just don't want to help them either. So that's not a position you want to be in, really. If you're in a job, you want to feel passionate about it and you want to enjoy it, or at least, at the very least, just sort of be neutral about it. But I actually felt quite negatively about the situation really early on. So that's when I started sort of second guessing, thinking maybe I'd made the wrong decision. It just didn't seem like a long-term thing for me. Like, I was happy to stick it out. Oh, my hair's getting stuck in my glasses. And then we didn't like Remy's nursery very much either, and he didn't really like nursery, because he used to go to nursery and leave when I was at uni, and he absolutely loved it. I don't know if it was his age or the nursery itself. To be fair, I love that nursery a lot more than his current one. But yeah, the one here, like, it just didn't have that same... Remy didn't seem to like the women who worked there as much. I didn't really have that relationship with them either. It just didn't really have the, like, I don't know, it was just a bit dull compared to his last place. You could tell he didn't like it there, because he started acting out and he'd get really annoyed in the mornings and after nursery. So like when we'd pick him up or when we'd be about to drop him off. But at the weekends he's absolutely fine. Like, it was exclusively around nursery hours that he'd get really annoyed at me and Danny. And it was starting to affect our relationship with him, because obviously to a certain extent you can be like, oh, he's just a toddler, he's just acting out. But if you know there's something you can do to stop it, that's when it starts getting a bit like, you know, why are we not doing anything to stop it? Like, he clearly doesn't like nursery. Yeah, also with my job, like, I don't want to completely slag them off, obviously, because I did enjoy it there, and I'm really, really grateful that they gave me the opportunity, like, to hire me straight from uni when I didn't really have much experience is very cool. And I did learn a lot. I learned a lot about myself in that role, and I learned a lot about I guess just like basic social media stuff. It was good. Like, I'm glad that I did it for those few months, but they didn't really know what they were doing. And I think just the company, I don't know if it's fashion companies in general, but like, we wouldn't even know what clothes were coming out that week. So it's like, until the day that they were coming out. So it's like, if I don't know what clothes are coming out, I can't effectively promote this campaign. They didn't really have campaigns, and like, I couldn't really put together like a social strategy or create good content because I didn't really know what was going on. And yeah, it just kind of, it started making me feel like I wasn't good at what I do, which I now realise I am. And I knew I was good at it before. That was what gave me the confidence to apply in the first place. I'm forgetting how to speak. But yeah, I started feeling like I wasn't good at it, and that's not how you want to feel. Like, considering I was still doing YouTube outside of work, barely, but still trying, you need to feel like confident and passionate and know that this is what you want to do. But because I was doing it professionally and it wasn't really working, yeah, it started having me like doubt myself, and then that's not great. And then I started just having like a weird relationship with social media because I was doing it all the time for work. I'd rather keep the passion and be able to do it in this way, like do it for myself on YouTube. Yeah, basically I was feeling really shit. It was affecting how I was after work and like how I was with Danny, and just started feeling really down. So Danny was just like, why don't you quit? And I was like, I can't quit, I only started a few months ago. And he was just like, well, realistically, as long as you make £450 a month, you can do what you want. And that was just a revelation to me. Like, I just didn't even really think about that. I kind of forgot that in the first place I'd only been looking for a part-time job anyway, and that I was only I only got the full-time job because I thought I wanted that specific role, but if I wasn't happy in it anymore, I could just quit and go back to looking for a part-time job. So that's what I did. I quit my job, 2 weeks notice, and my last day was on Friday, so I did it. I tried the full-time 9-to-5 thing, and apparently it's just not for me right now. I definitely think, like, when Remy is 3 or 4, like, you know, when you get the 30 hours free childcare, definitely like reconsider my options, and like almost definitely probably will go into like a full-time job then, unless I'm like a famous YouTuber. I know it's in one year. When is he 3? He's 3 in like 15 months, so we have 15 months to get this off the ground. I understand why most mums, well, not most mums, but a lot of mums don't work for the first few years, because there just pretty much isn't a point unless you're on like quite a well-paid job. Obviously we could have done it the other way around, because me and Danny were actually on like fairly similar wages, so I could have been the one to go to work. But the thing is, Danny actually likes his job and he's good at it, and like I see him progressing there quite quickly, so it just makes more sense for him to obviously stay at the job that he enjoys. So yeah, I think this is going to be like a lot better for all of us, like as a family. I definitely think my life is going to be more balanced, just being able to enjoy my time a bit more. Obviously I'm still working, I'm not going to be like a stay-at-home mum, nothing wrong with that, but I can't afford to be, so obviously I'm still working. I'll be doing YouTube and Instagram, and if that doesn't bring in enough money, I'm going to try and do freelance social media for like small businesses. So I think that's the tricky thing. Like obviously I'm really looking forward to being with Remy full-time. I know it's going to bring its challenges, I'm sure it will, because hanging out with a toddler 24/7 is not a walk in the park, but they're challenges I would be able to overcome. But I think the fact that we're not just going to be hanging out, we're going to be hanging out while I'm also trying to get work done on some of the days, and that, I think that's where the challenges I think that's where the challenges are going to come in, because if he wants to like go to the park but I've got emails to do or something, we're just going to struggle a little bit. But obviously the whole point of this was so I could spend more time with him, so he's always going to come first, and we're just going to have to hope that I can manage the workload as well. I'm really excited. I think it's gonna work out, and I think this is what I was meant to do. I think I should have just done this in the first place. Like I shouldn't have even tried to go into full-time work, but I guess, you know, no harm done. It's something I've tried. It's not for me right now, and I got a little bit of experience from it. That was the other thing. Something I struggled with when it came to quitting was having it on my CV that I'd only worked there for 4 or 5 months, because I think people, just society, something, I don't know who it is, people tell us that like unless you stayed at a job for at least a year, it's pointless and it looks stupid and there's no point even having it on your CV or having done that job. And I just completely disagree. I watched a video the other day, I'll link it in the description because my camera's about to die, but it's by Jess Greenash, and she basically talks about how she had 25 jobs by the age of 25 and how it's okay to leave a job if it makes you unhappy. And I just completely agree with that, and yeah, you should watch it. What I would say, oh my god, why is my camera gonna die? What I would say if you're feeling unhappy in your job and you're kind of thinking about whether to make the leap and when the right time is, I would just say weigh up the pros and cons, because as soon as I weighed up the pros and cons, that's when I realised there was very little pros other than, you know, potential career progression, and it was all to do with like climbing the ladder. They were the only pros, but the cons, there were just so many, and I was just like, realistically right now what's important to me is my family and my happiness and my family's happiness, and all of that comes above a potential career progression. So that's why it was a pretty easy decision for me to make. Obviously if I was going to take a big financial hit from it, that would have been a completely different situation and I wouldn't have done it, because money, like we need money. But the difference in salaries just from working 40 hours a week to doing like 1 or 2 ads on Instagram is just the same. So for me personally, I knew I wasn't like putting my family in like a dangerous situation by doing this, and overall it's actually going to be a lot better. Super rude that my camera just died. Also my iPhone quality is like a potato. I'm actually having to stand by the back door just to get a bit of lighting. But as I was saying, if you have any questions about this video or want any advice to do with anything I mentioned in this video, then just let me know below. I'm looking at notes on my laptop if you're wondering why I keep looking down. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe if you aren't already. It means more now than it ever did. And also follow me on like all my socials if you like me. I'm at Yasmin Johar X on everything. I probably use Twitter and Instagram the most. I don't really use Facebook, to be honest. Does anyone? I don't know. Thank you for watching. Bye.